welcome back to the channel. I wanted to do a different kind of video this week to take a break from drawing, and one of the best outlets for me to avoid burnout is to straight up not think about or draw anything and do some side quests. And because the goal here is to take a full break from drawing, I will be assembling this DIY miniature dollhouse kit from Rolife. This video is not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, so this is just something I wanted to add to my shelf along with my other completed dollhouse kits. I made a couple of these in the past, as you can see from my shelf. The very first one I made is this coffee house, which is very well lit, but with all the imperfections and mistakes and the hell it absolutely took to assemble this, I still love this kit. The second one I made is this Sakura book nook, which is also from Rolife. As you can see, I even added markings to the cat to match my own cat. This video is more to document and look back on later down the line, so I hope this is just the right amount of chit-chatting to put in the background. For those that are new, hi, hello. I am a webcomic artist and illustrator that draws on her free time after her 9-to-5 day job. But like most, I have gained an interest in drawing at a pretty young age. As I've journeyed through school, being an artist was always at the back of my mind, but like most children of immigrant parents, we were pushed to have more stable careers, so bouncing between schoolwork, extracurriculars, and planning for college, and simply being a kid, drawing was a casual hobby that I partook in whenever inspiration struck. I didn't get into any art school, nor did I have a cohesive portfolio, so I simply went to university for accounting. My art wasn't developed at all, and there was always a million excuses why I put off seriously making time and effort to improving my craft. I spent a lot of time scrolling on Tumblr, oh I miss those days, and copying artists that I found on Instagram, but I didn't really know much about myself. And without the time to think about it, I eventually graduated and immediately started full-time work as a professional pencil pusher. The idea of starting a YouTube channel wasn't even on my radar at the time. So I spent the following years juggling a job and jumpstarting my journey into webcomic. You don't need to be a webcomic artist to know this, but creating a webtoon is hard. So I spent a good chunk of my free time creating and drawing my action-adventure webcomic, which has been featured a lot on this channel. Pausing for an ad segment here. My comic is called Save You Fair, which you can read for free on the Webtoon website. It is under the canvas section because I'm not getting paid or contracted to create this at all. This is completely done with no monetary gain on my end, and I'm just drawing it for the love of the craft. Creating the comic was an opportunity for a lot of self-development for me as both an artist and writer, so I have also learned a lot about myself and the kind of stories I wanted to tell. I do plan on returning this series from hiatus in the very near future. Feel free to check the comic out. I have 30 chapters out at the moment, and I hope to come back with a new and improved art style. Now looking back at my earlier version, my comic was not great, and I knew I wasn't entitled to viewers just because I spent 40 hours on an episode. But it's always nice to have that audience engagement and also just to feel seen with your story. Outside of attempting to be a webcomic artist, I absolutely also tried to be a social media artist many times. And my thinking behind it was if I grew my following through social media, and then I can bring traffic towards my webcomic if I get enough eyes on my work. But my art posts never caught into the algorithm and my reach was non-existent, so I turned on to the next part of the independent artist pipeline, being a YouTuber. If you guys take a look back on my YouTube content catalog at the very beginning, there are two particular videos that are just so much older than the rest. This marked my very first attempt at starting this channel and is timestamped for January 2nd of the year 2020. Which is pretty sad when you think about it because there's literally only 2 videos and I gave up after 2 videos. I would just slap the video into an editing software and added some corny background music and just click upload. I didn't even give it a proper title or thumbnail, nor did I seem to care, I guess. Anyways, this is really embarrassing to admit. My grand idea was to draw something every day and then post it on Instagram as like a daily painting challenge, and it would be paired with a time lapse, and then I would put that time lapse into a YouTube video and upload it for every single 365 drawings. And hopefully one of the videos would blow up and bring traffic to my comic and then profit. It sounds absolutely insane as I'm repeating this to you right now. I was chasing its end results that the algorithm would catch on to my posts and then get disappointed whenever an Instagram post flopped, which is literally all of them. I wasn't even in it for the joy of creating, but I was so obsessed with my naive view of quote-unquote success, which amounted to putting my value on the amount of readers, my Webtoon sub count, and my social media follow count. So I convinced myself that I had tried my hardest and gave being a YouTuber a shot, and it was just all hopeless. Especially at the end of the day, I was still comparing myself to other people's journeys and their social media stats, and their successes gave me a sense of dread that my art can't amount to anything this late in the game. Your girl was not getting any younger either. My expectations of myself was continuously climbing, and the gap from my expectation to the results I had desired just kept getting wider and wider and wider until it finally caught up to me. In this part of the story, it is 2024, and after finishing 30 chapters of my webcomic, I decided I wanted to focus on improving my skills and actually write out the entire rest of the story because I was not committed to the draft that I had at the time. With that said, I knew I needed to take some time consuming other stories, live out more life experience, and maybe just step away from drawing a bit. After all, it was just 5 years at this point of me drawing and hoping something took off, not seeing results from it, and as the Webtoon cycle goes, you wake up, write your script, sketch your thumbnail, start sketching it on the computer, inking 40 panels, color all 40 panels, post it a minute before the deadline, drop dead to sleep, all to do it all over again. My art improvement wasn't major since I was chasing deadlines, but I was proud of my comic, but also needed some time away after spending all my creative capital on it. So I took a break from the webcomic early 2024 and just lived a little bit. My hermiting days were over. I actually thought I was done with content creation for good. In the middle of last year, I had impulsively signed up for a painting mentorship where I learned a whole darn lot about painting. And in hindsight, that was probably the best impulsive decision I've made. I've learned so much about illustration that creating an illustration is not as frustrating as it used to be. But with this 8-week mentorship, that also meant 8 weeks of a crap ton of homework. In the grind of silently working on my webcomic and doing all my homework, I had a massive phase of just consuming YouTube content. What I realized from all of these channels that I liked a lot is how they are so excited about what they wanted to create, so much that you can hear their passion through their voice and all the effort they put into their videos. Even for like this simple sketching video, they have the courage to show the flawed process and put out the internet. Being inspired and seeing that, the idea of becoming a YouTuber myself was on the table again. I understand that COVID lockdown was a period of high anxiety, and I saw a lot of people start their own businesses, launch their YouTube channels, and even selling very high volumes of digital products on their Etsy shop. I felt that a lot of channels, and not just art channels, were so heavily focused on chasing the numbers, gaming the algorithm, how to expand your reach, start your mailing list so you can notify your subscribers on your newest product, or starting a Substack account. Like, I understand there's a business behind YouTube, and having a ton of sponsorship is the way. But I just also felt like a lot of videos were glorified sales pitch to the creator's main business, which was art adjacent. But it wasn't really scratching the itch of what I wanted to watch on YouTube. It's their right to create the content needed to sustain a living, it just wasn't the content that was clicking with me anymore as a viewer. And so I don't think there's a gap of content of people just simply drawing, but I thought if I wanted to be a YouTuber again, I wanted to be in that camp. My intention on YouTube this time around was to share my art and have a community to chat with, especially since I've been posting online for a while and can literally talk about webcomic, my art creation. I also like the idea of all the new skills people learn from creating videos and sharing their findings on the internet. I've always put off learning how to edit videos and would sometimes feel directionless when I'm given way too much time to draw. At least when there's a video idea, I have a direction of what kind of thumbnail I have to draw or what kind of drawings I need to create in order to add into a video. I need to operate in parameters, so having a video can steer me to a direction of what I should be drawing. My favorite art channels were always the ones when you can see the creator's video skills and art improve simultaneously from their first to last videos. As a watcher, it always felt like I was being taken along their journey. I know my channel content is currently filled with glorified PowerPoints and lecture type videos. I am still passionate about talking about Webtoons and being creative while having a day job, but I have just been itching to do more polished illustration, practice my digital painting, and resume my webcomic from hiatus. And of course I want to film myself and create content doing those things. I've always loved watching channels where there's a series of videos filling out a couple of sketchbook pages. And after a couple of months, there would be a completed sketchbook tour, where the artists would talk and reflect on their pieces they completed from all their previous videos, as well as showing some new pages they didn't show on the channel before. I especially love the ones that work on a graphic novel or show the day in the life before a very hectic shop launch. But I also think watching an artist make mistakes and redoing pieces of the work is just all of what makes us human. Especially in the day and age when AI and technology and trying to be perfect online is so rampant. The past few years, I was creating everything digitally on my iPad and on my drawing tablet, so I've just been itching to paint on a sketchbook again, pen to paper style. Like I mentioned before, this current video of me assembling this dollhouse is also me testing my brand new lighting and film setup, which I'd like to say is working out pretty well so far. So filming a painting video does not feel so far away now. Also, recording footage as opposed to doing pure voiceover also means I could spend less time drawing video assets, and maybe the editing process would be faster. Like I said before, one of my goals in the coming months is to try to upload once every 10 days and then eventually once a week, but that is just absolute wishful thinking on my part. I try not to pigeonhole myself into a very specific type of video, since I want to make the content that comes from out natural to me and do whatever I feel like creating in the moment. When I started out, each drawing would take me around 30 minutes, but I can feel myself not only getting faster, but I've managed to create a process where I can batch create multiple illustrations at once. It used to take me 3 days to finish only 10 drawings for each video, hence why there was a massive gap between each upload in the beginning, but I managed to cut a lot of that time down. So YouTube has not only helped me pick up a lot of technical skills in terms of producing a video, but it also helped my self-confidence in doing voiceover and refine my art process as well. I don't know if I see a version of myself where I can do content creation full-time at this point, but I do like how working a job outside of being a creator helps me stay grounded in reality and kind of makes me feel more well-rounded as a person instead of just being only obsessed with art. One of my biggest fears is getting out of touch in real life and losing sight of my goal, which is to be silly and share my art online. I don't want to lean on art to the point where I have to financially depend on it, but I can see myself continue to make videos as long as I can keep creating art alongside it and keep the creation process fun. I want to believe a lot of artists can relate about wanting to game the algorithm and feel recognized from social media validation, but I think there is an important lesson to be learned. That you can still discover the joy and love in creating something, especially in a world where we are constantly sold to, devalued, and fighting for the thoughts of not feeling good enough. You can find the direction you want to take your art and enjoy the journey of carving your own space on the internet. And I think that's about it. As you can see, the flower house is complete. I had so much fun assembling this kit. As you can see from the small intricate details, all that tedious work feels like it really paid off. It was painful to make at the time, but the end result made it all worth it. All the plants, all the lighting, the studio space. I wish I had the skills to show this off more photogenically on camera, but I promise it looks a lot better in person. I remember the first tea house kit used up so much super glue, which got all over my fingers, so it was such a messy assembly. While working on this flower house kit, the need for superglue was super minimal. This took me around 14 hours and I felt like it was a good time well spent. Like I mentioned before, this is my second kit from Rolife, so I would definitely recommend this manufacturer if you're looking at a DIY dollhouse kit for yourself or to gift to a loved one. If you are still here, thank you for watching. I want to take a moment to thank everyone for subscribing to the channel so early on. I do have some more painting, webcomic, and drawing challenge videos planned in the very near future, so if that is your thing, feel free to subscribe to see more videos from me. I try to post both long and short form videos on a weekly basis. Hope to see you in the next one and wishing you all an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye!